It is 7 o'clock.
Jesus.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Griffin,
Present.
Dr. Matusek,
Here.
Mr. Sinai,
Here.
Mr. Lau,
Present.
Mr. Robinson. Here.
We have a quorum. Comments regarding agenda items. Don't know that anybody signed for that. We do have Mr. Birkenbile that has placed his name on the agenda at the proper time to speak with us now. You have the floor. Let me remind the board members that he's speaking on a non-agenda item, so some of the back and forth. You can ask for clarification, but be aware that if it's not an agenda item, we really can't comment. Okay.
Right.
You got the floor.
I understand that also. I just, first of all, want to start, I'm not going to take very much of your time. I just had a little bit of a concern for those that may not know. A year and a half ago, I was asked to serve on the Excise County Board in Kingfisher. It's been a learning experience, and I am still learning. But there's just been some things that are coming up, and I'm not going into the details of that. But again, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you. I know a couple of you here. One reason why I'm here is because this is my hometown, the only place I've ever lived, and the only place I probably ever will live, and walk the same halls in the high school and the middle school over here. And I will say this gray hair takes me back to the library on the main street where I walked those halls in elementary school. But with that being said, and seeing what I have experienced the last 2-3 months, just have a great concern of things and just want to come with a reminder, as we all need reminders once in a while, and just to not get too relaxed about our responsibilities. And again, I appreciate what you guys do, and I don't have kids that walk these hallways now, but I have grandchildren that are in these hallways, and this school will always be something special to me. And we all know how important the school system is to a community. So I just encourage you in the days today and coming up that don't get relaxed, don't get too comfortable. Not that that's a good place to be, but also just to be vigilant and know again that you have a responsibility and an obligation to know what's happening in every locker room, every classroom, everything that happens on this campus. As far as the school board, you guys have a responsibility. I know this is a different day, but I mentioned last week we had the all-school reunion, and we had a lot of conversations, and people come back and had a great turnout and talked about the good times that we had in the hallways of HHS. But with that being said, what's happening across on the other side of the river now is not pleasant. It is not pleasant at all. Barb knows that as a fact. It's really tearing that community apart. I don't know that I'd ever experienced something like it and had just a little bit of a part of it that I'm struggling with myself and didn't have any idea that I was going to be into that situation. But with that being said, again, I just wanted to come tonight. Again, I told you I was going to be very brief. I am. There is no comment. I just want to encourage each one of you, because I started to say this a while ago. Something we talked about last week, some of us older ones that were getting there, is I mentioned it, I think, in our discussion I talked to Luke and to Patrick about it. Something that we remember in the grade school or in the middle school over here was seeing board members walk through the hallways. I know it's a different time, and I hear now that our job is just policy. I struggle with that a little bit, to know how exactly do you know what's going on, and I know the superintendent carries a large burden on his shoulders of him being responsible for that stuff, but I just want to encourage you to know what's going on and not to let things get out of hand. For the last 6 months, I've taken a little bit of pride and a little bit of joking at the end of the meeting when I say, you guys have a good month, I'll see you next month, but right now I'm going on the other side of the river where things are peaceful and calm. And that's my encourage to you, is just be very vigilant of what's going on and be concerned, because it is a responsibility of yours of knowing what's going on. And I just beg of you that we wouldn't see something happen in my hometown in Hennessey Public Schools like what's happening in Kingfisher. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Moving to item 3, consent agenda. Are there any items from 3.1 through 3.7 that any of the board members would like to have clarified or to pull out for in-depth discussion?
I have one question on 3.3, the purchase orders, change orders. I just happened to notice the other day a line item in there for a couple $1,000 for clothing for homeless students. We have homeless students in our district. I mean, I know that it's more prevalent than what people, you know, may understand or recognize. It still is somewhat of a shock, I guess, even in our home, here in our hometown.
So this is a benevolent service that our counselors are providing?
It's something that they put together, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all. I just was curious about that. That's a sad deal.
I have none.
Anything else? Seeing no more comments or questions, I will move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Mr. Griffin?
That was me?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Ms. Thomason?
Yes.
Moving on to regular business, 4.1 regards our board meeting schedule for calendar year 2025.
So this mirrors what we did this year, March and April, as I put in that email. Those are the two in the past we've moved those to noon. So Mr. Griffin could be at the baseball games, which had actually worked out pretty nice for me as well. So we left them on there so we could.
Are there home baseball, or is there
I did not
events?
cross-reference those.
I didn't either.
That day. I did not cross-reference them. We can make it like that, or we can make the change and move them all to 7 o'clock. It's whatever you guys want to do.
Don't we always have to do some bond issue things?
Yeah, and they'll send us a special meeting.
That'll be a special.
Yeah, that'll be a special, because they like to do that separate, with that similar agenda item on there. So they'll get us notifications of that at a later date.
So you don't know if you have a baseball game at that
I don't know.
juncture at that time?
There's one the 11th, so let's see.
I
It
haven't
looks like
taken a
it's the
picture of my
11th.
baseball schedules yet.
That's
I've
okay.
got it. There's one the 11th, so it wouldn't be on the 10th.
Of
That wouldn't be the
March.
11th, or,
It says March 11th.
oh, March 11th, okay.
Yeah, at Jones.
They usually play Mondays at one place and Tuesdays at the
And
other.
then the 10th, yeah, there's a varsity game on the 10th.
I guess I'm happy to accommodate it if
Yeah.
needed. If it's
Yeah.
not needed, I'd like to keep it at 7.
Well, I'm not obligated to the baseball schedule as I was when I had an athlete playing.
My son plays, but he'll play JV, so I can.
Do you want to, let's move everything back to 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And we only need 30 days notice, you know, at the previous board meeting, if we ever need to change any, if it can be accommodated by the entire board.
We'll have that retyped and get you a
Yeah.
signature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any other dates or times that are in conflict with any of our schedules? Seeing none, let's move March 10th to 7 p.m., April 14th back to 7 p.m., and I will move to approve the calendar year 2025 regular board meeting schedule as submitted.
Second?
Mr. Griffin?
Yes?
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mr. Simrod?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Ms. Thomason?
Yes.
Item 4.2 regards a resolution to call for a school election for Board of Education Office Number 5.
So just remember that if there's 3 or more people that sign up, that's when you have the February 11th election. If it's 2 people and you have a race, only 2 or less, then it just goes to April. And that's the final election.
The filing for that, I believe,
Is that
is
first
the
week in
first week
December?
of December.
Yes.
I will move to approve the resolution for an annual election on the dates mentioned in the agenda packet.
I will second it.
Mr. Griffin.
You were a little too enthusiastic about that second. Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mr. Simrod.
You didn't want to move it up?
Mr. Lau.
Can we do it tomorrow? Is that what you're saying? 4.3, and it just vanished on me. Discussion regarding, the pre-referral process child fine policy.
So this is just a special education requirement of cleaning things up. Flo's done a great job going through, making sure we meet not only state guidelines, but federal guidelines on what's required of starting the whole referral process, of getting a kid into special education, the testing, the meetings, everything, and then also the child fine. That's for the kiddos who are not actually enrolled, but are 3, and that we're required to provide special education services to. They come in, once, twice a week, depending on needs. So I would recommend those 2 board policies recommend to the board to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve the pre-referral process and child fine policy as presented.
Second.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mr. Simrod.
Yes.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
New business?
No new business to act on.
Now we're ready for your report then.
Small report on the resignations. I just had one resignation. That was Sierra Haymaker, and that's due to just personal, having a baby. So congratulations to her and her husband. So
That it?
that is it.
Or we're getting close to your,
Everything finished up at the parking, sorry to interrupt,
No.
but everything finished up at the parking lot and everything, football
At
field?
the football,
Yeah.
yes. So we came in, they did the additional striping.
Looks good.
Yeah, it does. They actually put some of the sod in the wrong place, and that put it in one ditch. It was supposed to be around that, but I told them we would just end up taking care of that in-house. The water lines, they've had a little more problem on, gas lines up at the transportation building, but that should be hooked up within the next week. But where they were running that along, P1 there, they've had more difficulties than they thought, but we should be able to have heat to the transportation building here in another week, he said. Yeah. So yeah, all projects, those are complete, so.
anybody else? Moving on to personnel, 7.1, in regard to support staff for 24-25 school year.
So recommend to the board to employ the following for bus drivers: David Tillman and Brad Post-Basil. Brady, excuse me, I should have pulled my glasses down. Sadie Cabral as ELL, she'll be working at the high school, and then Shelby Terry is going to take the paraprofessional job that vacated by Sierra.
Shelby, that name's
Terry.
not on our,
I added that into the recommendations later. We listed the position in hopes that
Right.
Mr. Crosswhite would find somebody, but it's Shelby Petty. Petty.
just add that to what we said.
Yeah.
Move to hire.
Second.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mr. Simrod.
Yes.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.